Good morning. Today is Thursday, August 12th, 2021. What I'd like to share with you is partially based on an essay by Rabbi Yochanan Zweig. Shoftim v'shotrim titein lecha b'chol sharecha. Our parsha begins, the parsha of Shoftim. Shoftim, judges, v'shotrim, and police, you should establish in all of your gates, in all of your cities. As I mentioned, the parsha is about setting up a just society. So the first step is to have judges and police. Judges to judge cases and decide the law. Police to enforce the law. How many of each? In Montreal, by my rough estimate, there are a couple of hundred judges, including all levels of the court. And there are close to 5,000 police. And I don't think that ratio is unusual in a modern society. In Jewish law, we do not have any specific number of police, but we do have an indication of the number of judges. At the very beginning of Jewish law, when Moshe himself set up the first judicial system, shortly after the Jewish people left Egypt, the Torah tells us that Moshe established courts so that there was one judge for every 10 people. That's a lot of judges. The Talmud says that much later, when the Jewish people were living in the land of Israel, the Talmud says every town that had as many as 120 inhabitants was required to have its own Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin was the court that could hear both civil law cases and criminal law cases. Every single town had to have its own. And a Sanhedrin was 23 full judges plus 46 associate judges. That's a total of 69 people. 69 out of the 120 inhabitants were judges. It's hard to imagine there were more police than judges. Presumably, the ratio was many, many more judges than police, the opposite of Montreal and just about every other place that I can think of. Why is that? The role of a judge in Jewish law is to decide the law, yes, but it's much more than that. The role of a judge is to embody and represent the law and the values that the law enshrines. Most societies today predicate law and order on fear of the consequences of crime. If you're worried about getting caught, if you're worried about being punished, you won't do the crime. It doesn't work so well because often people feel the reward of breaking the law is greater than the fear of the punishment. That's human nature. And even in a religious sense, if the basis of observing God's commandments is fear of punishment, if that's the reason that we hold ourselves back from doing something against God's laws because we're afraid of being punished, it's not going to work so well. Because many people either think that the fear has no cause, that they're not really afraid, or they think that it's worth the risk for the reward of the sin. The Jewish religion and Jewish law is different in that the preferable basis to serve God on a religious level is because of love, because of gratitude. I would do anything to please God. And I would avoid anything that displeases God because of how much I love God, because of my gratitude for all that God does for me. When that's the basis for my observance, I don't need the police. I am my own police. I simply need to know what the right thing is. And that's true in a religious, individual sense between ourselves and God. Similarly, in society, when we see people we admire, who are our role models, and they are all around us, they are ubiquitous, we see them all the time, every day, we want to emulate them. Judges create the environment by their numerous presence so that their character sets the standards of their society and their community. This is the reason that judges in Jewish law must be above even the appearance of approach. And that's how our parsha begins. Shovtim v'shotrim titin lecha b'chol sharecha. You shall establish judges and polices in all of your towns. V'shavtu es ha'am mishpat tzedek, and they should judge the people a righteous judgment. Lo satem mishpat, do not pervert justice. Lo sakir panim, don't show anyone favor. V'lo sikach shochad, don't take any bribe. Ki hashochad yaver enei chachamim v'yisalev divrei tzadikim, because taking a bribe will blind the eyes of the wise and pervert the words of the righteous. Tzedek, tzedek tirdof, justice. Justice you should pursue, leman tirkia, in order that you should live a good life. So if the character of the judge is not sterling, that judge is worse than no judge at all. Because aside from perhaps arriving at the wrong decision, that judge becomes a negative role model. I've discussed this with you before a couple of times this week. Tzedek, tzedek tirdof. Justice, justice you should pursue. Why is it repeated? So many answers to this question, but the simple sense of the verse is it is speaking to judges. Judges are required to pursue justice in their decisions, tzedek, and they're also required to pursue justice in their personal example. We don't have this system today of the comprehensive placement of judges throughout and within our society. But this fundamental aspect of Jewish law reminds us how carefully we must choose our role models and how hard we must try to always be surrounded by people who make us better. That is the key to a just society and to a just individual. My friends, I want to wish you a great day and a wonderful Shabbos. And I look forward to seeing all of you soon in person.